You know that feeling, right? You write a line of code, you're expecting one answer from a simple math problem, and then Python gives you something totally different. It happens to the best of us. So today, let's dive into one of the most common trip-ups and uncover the simple rule that governs it all. All right, take a look at this. 20 divided by 5 times 2. Seems simple enough, doesn't it? Before we go any further, just take a second. What answer pops into your head? You got it? Okay, let's see if you're right. Now, most people land on one of two answers. Some will look at this and say, oh, that's easy, it's 8.0. But others are just as sure that the answer is 2.0. They can't both be right. So which one does Python choose? And more importantly, why? Well, the key to cracking this little puzzle is all about a set of rules you probably learned way back in school. But there's this tiny little detail, kind of like the fine print, that a lot of us and our code tend to forget. That's right, we're digging up the order of operations. You might know it as PEMDAS, or maybe BODMAS, depending on where you grew up. It's that mental shortcut we all learned for solving math problems. The classic mnemonic is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And this is exactly where the confusion begins, because M for multiplication comes before D for division in the name. A lot of us were taught that you always multiply before you divide. But, as we're about to see, that's not quite the whole story. To get the real definitive answer, we've got to go straight to the source. We need to look at Python's official rulebook. This isn't about what we remember from school. This is about the cold, hard logic that's built right into the language itself. Okay, now this is the interesting part. Take a look at that third row. See what's going on there. Multiplication, division, floor division, modulo. They're all grouped together. They are on the exact same level of importance. Python doesn't see one as being more powerful than the other. So, if they're tied, how in the world does it decide what to do first? So if they're on the same level, how does Python break the tie? Does it flip a coin? Nope. It uses a super simple but really powerful rule. And it's the rule that solves our entire puzzle. That tiebreaker is called associativity. And for most math in Python, it's a dead simple left-to-right rule. All this means is that when operators have the same rank, Python doesn't play favorites. It just works its way through the expression from left to right, just like you'd read a sentence in a book. Okay, armed with that little piece of knowledge, let's circle back to our original problem and see exactly how Python tackles it. And this just lays it out perfectly. Python scans from the left. The very first operation it bumps into is 20 divided by 5. Bam! It calculates that and gets 4.0. Right away, the problem simplifies down to 4.0 times 2. And from there, the last operation gives us the answer. So there it is. The correct answer is 8.0. And the key thing to remember is it's not because division is somehow more important than multiplication. It's simply because the division operator showed up first on the left. It was first in line. Now, what if you actually wanted the answer to be 2.0? Well, the great thing about programming is that you're in the driver's seat. Python gives you a super simple tool to override all these default rules and make the code do exactly what you want it to do. Let's look at a fresh example. Here we've got 10 plus 2 times 5. Now, we know from that precedence table we just saw that multiplication outranks addition. So Python is going to do the 2 times 5 first, which is 10, and then it'll add the other 10, giving us 20. That's the default behavior, standard stuff. But watch what happens when we introduce parentheses. Parentheses have the highest precedence of anything. They're like a VIP pass. They basically shout at Python and say, hey, forget the rules for a second and do this part first. And look at that. The result is now 60, a completely different answer. By adding those parentheses, Python calculates 10 plus 2 first to get 12, and then it does the multiplication. That is how you take full command of the order of operations. You know, understanding this isn't just about solving weird math puzzles. It's about writing code that's predictable, code that's free of bugs, and code that's actually easy for other people and your future self to read and understand. So let's just recap the big ideas here. First, operators like multiplication and division, they're equals. They're on the same level. When they're in a tie, Python just goes from left to right. And if you ever want to force a different order, you have to use parentheses. In fact, a really great habit to get into is using parentheses even when you don't technically need them, just to make your code's intention crystal clear. And that brings us to one final thought. You now know the rules, you have the tools. Looking back at our very first problem, how would you rewrite it? using parentheses to force Python to calculate 5 times 2 first and get that other answer, 2.0. Think about it. That's what it means to write code with confidence.